Novelty, and today we're talking about the books I read in June of 2017. The first book was The Ice Cutter's Daughter, and I really enjoyed it because the main character has a whole bunch of brothers, and I think it's so much fun when a main character has a whole bunch of brothers and their interactions and everything, but the plot didn't draw me in as much as I wanted it to, so it only gets 3 stars. Next is Unblemished. I rarely ever read fantasy, and so this book kind of blew my mind, and I'm still not sure what I think about it, but it just totally drew me in and I could barely put it down, and it kept me totally interested. I read it while we were traveling, and I was so tired from jet lag and all that kind of stuff, but I just wanted to find out what in the world was going to happen, and it gets 4 stars for being completely mind-blowing to me because I'm not used to fantasy, and this is actually a fantasy book that I really enjoyed, although I still don't even know what I think of it. Number 3 is House of Secrets, and unfortunately I really did not like this book. There was especially a plot twist at the end that made it kind of really creepy, and so it only gets 2 stars, and I almost wish I hadn't read it. Book number 4, Take the Key and Lock Her Up. I'd been waiting to read this book for quite a while because it's the 3rd book in the trilogy, and I really wanted to see how the series ended. Oh, I can't quite condone all their actions, but I really enjoy the style, and it's so different from what I'm used to. I really enjoyed this book, although it's not really probably one I would ever reread. Book number 5, my first review book for the month of June was Wings of the Wind, and oh my lands, people. It was the end of the trilogy, and at first I really was not drawn into the book, and I didn't like it, and I thought it was lacking, but then there was a plot twist midway through, and after that the book really took off for me and made it up to 4 stars and made me be like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is the end of the trilogy. I want to read more. It really helped the biblical time period to come alive for me and made me want to reread the Old Testament yet again and all that great kind of stuff that happens when you read a fantastic book that makes a world just spring to life. The Insatiable Quest for Beauty was a book I decided to read after hearing about it on a vlog by Books for Christian Girls by Lindsay, and she read a quote from it, and the quote was so amazing that I bought the book based off of just that one quote, and oh my goodness, I loved it. It's my only 5-star read of the whole entire month, and I read it in one sitting. It's nonfiction, but it's just so good. I didn't struggle with the same problems that the author had struggled with, but everything that she went through somehow related to struggles I have gone through, and she writes in such an honest and interesting and it sounds like she's your friend, and I just love it and look forward to reading more books by her. The Healer's Apprentice. So I started reading Melanie Dickerson's books last month. I read one last month and one this month, and I hadn't thought I would like her books, but instead I just really enjoy the time period and how it's portrayed and want to just dive into that world more and more and hear about how life was back in the medieval ages, and it's really cool to have books that are interesting and the plot's interesting and the characters are well developed, but mostly the world. I love the world in these books. My second review book for the month was Crossroads by Paul Willis, and I wanted to read this because I really like the author's blog. It is just fantastic. And I highly recommend it. I'll leave a link in the description below, so you guys should totally check it out. And I was so honored to be able to review the book, and unfortunately it wasn't exactly my style because it's a dystopian and I've never really gotten into that genre, but that doesn't mean that you won't really like the book and you should really check it out. The Twin Arrows by Kate Willis, and this is actually a sibling to Paul Willis, and I found her blog first, and I'll leave it in the description below too, because not only has she been amazing as a blogger, but this book was right up my alley and I loved it. It got 4 solid stars, and I am going to be reviewing it the first week of July, so be watching for that on my blog. To Live as Christ by Beth Moore. I actually began reading this book, I don't even know when. It's on my Kindle. It's my second read through, and I was about 30% of the way through when I picked it up this month, and I really enjoyed going back through it and just remembering all the great stuff that I had read previously and seeing my different bookmarks and different notations. My 4th book for review for the month was Israel, God's Heart, which is a coffee table book with pictures of Israel. And when I first just flipped through the book, I didn't think it looked very pretty, but then when I stopped and studied the pictures, I was just blown away by how gorgeous it is, and I really want to go to Israel. Bread of Angels was the last book I've read this month so far. It's only the 28th, so I might read a couple more, but they obviously won't be on this vlog. But I had been really looking forward to it. It's a book for review that I got. Unfortunately, the book didn't exactly draw me in like I was hoping it would, and although it was interesting, it was also easy to put down. So I do recommend it, I'm just not fangirling over it. So there we have it, 12 books for the month of June with 5 3-star books, 5 4-star books, and then 1 2-star and 1 5-star. So pretty balanced.